Joining us today on The Blend is Dr. Wade Cooper. He is the director of the Headache and Neuropathic Pain Program at the University of Michigan. Welcome to The Blend, Dr. Cooper. Talk to us about migraines and how they can have such a profound effect on people's lives.
I'm so glad to be here today. Thank you for your question. Migraine is really a complex neurologic disorder. And what we know about migraine is it affects people differently. We know that in the state of Michigan, there's over 10 million people, and 3 million of those have migraine. Some people with migraine have mild episodic headache and some light and sound sensitivity, but a lot of those 3 million people have a supersonic turbocharged sensory system, which means normal light, normal sound, normal smells are amplified. And on top of that, they can have a pretty severe headache, sometimes knocking them out of commission for a day or two at a time.
So what are some of the triggers and what are some suggestions you might have for your patients to avoid those triggers for migraine?
Right. Well, so sometimes people's migraine can be triggered by having change in their sleep pattern. Sometimes people, when they skip meals or when they eat poor foods that irritate their nervous system, like artificial sweeteners or sometimes some food additives, that can turn on and activate migraine. But we also know that stress plays a major role in migraine, and especially with our ongoing COVID pandemic and the stresses that people have in adjusting their new life to how things are in this current situation, that can activate migraine all by itself.
Yeah, I would imagine. So what are some recommendations? Are there some new treatments available for migraines?
So there's a couple things that we recommend from a lifestyle standpoint. Many times we want people to lower their stress, get better sleep, but there's also some scientific breakthroughs that have been really helpful for our patients who struggle with migraine.
What are those breakthroughs?
Well, so we understand now that migraine is activated by an inflammatory cascade in the nervous system, and some scientific breakthroughs that have identified specific proteins that cause this inflammation on the surface of the brain have allowed us to use medicines that block the activation of this inflammation and therefore turning off a migraine attack in its tracks.
And from what I understand, Nurtec ODT is one of those applications?
Yeah, Nurtec ODT is a medicine that's been really, really helpful for a lot of our patients. Not only does it seem to have a fast ability to turn off a migraine attack, but it also can turn off their light and sound sensitivity or their nausea. And what's the most phenomenal piece of this is it also has very few side effects. Most of my patients can't even tell that they've taken the medicine, except they get relief from their severe disabling migraine.
Wow, Nurtec ODT. You can find more information online. Dr. Cooper, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.